You've probably not given this much thought, but why do we call the rooms in our humble abode the names that we do? Obviously, the bedroom is where our beds go. This is where we sleep after long days and nights of school and work, and where we share rather intimate parts of our lives with other people. Or it can be an office where you work from home, or even a room for gaming. The bathroom or washroom is where we wash up and or take baths and showers, and where we go to relieve ourselves. However, there is one room that just doesn't fit even though we've said it countless times, even without a second thought. I, of course, am referring to the room we call, quote, the living room. But why do we call it that? The room where we put our televisions and couches to sit and enjoy hours upon hours of entertainment. The room where we host board game night. The room we all camped out in during sleepovers. The room where, those who celebrate it, put up the Christmas trees. But that couldn't possibly be why they call it that. Well, as burning a question this may be, I actually found the reason. My name is Jason Sanchez. On my 17th birthday, my mother, Daniela, and I moved from our happy little home in Oregon all the way to Arizona to live with my Aunt Taylor. Or, as we still refer to her, Sailor Taylor, because she served in the Navy. She served while my mom was pregnant with me. My mom chose to have a family, and Aunt Taylor chose to fight for our country. I have to ensure this year for her birthday to thank her for her service in an even more appreciative way. Well, 3 weeks before my birthday, my father had for some reason up and left us, essentially screwing my mother and I both financially. We were on the brink of homelessness. We had packed up our belongings and had no choice but to sleep in our cramped living room. My mother and I crammed onto the leather couch and we slept head to toe. Well, jumping back to the present, my 40-year-old Aunt Taylor had used her pickup truck to help with moving costs. We decided to leave the majority of our larger furniture behind. The only things we brought were both our beds and frames and our 55-inch TV. We pulled up to a rather luxurious 2-story condo. There was a beautiful rock garden with picture-perfect cacti decorating the lawn, and attached was a 3-car garage, which my Aunt Taylor said she would leave a place for me once I got my license. I'm a late bloomer, shut up, my dad was supposed to teach me for my birthday. Anyways, once we parked the car, Aunt Taylor got out and stretched, exclaiming,
"Ooh, yeah! Now that was a road trip. Ooh, damn. Thank the good Lord it's the middle of winter. Otherwise, we'd be leaving all your shit out here for all the wolves and hyenas to munch on. Then how would I get rid of all the dead bodies in my basement?" Ah, I'm just fucking with you. Come on, Jason. You really think Sailor Taylor would do that to my favorite nephew? Come on, dude. Grow a set already. Ah, I'm just kidding. Why you so serious?
She said while putting me in a headlock and giving me a noogie. I should preface by saying my Aunt Taylor was unlike all the other women in my family. And if we are sharing all of our important family details, my immediate family was mostly women. The only men were my father and my grandfather, who passed away when I was 6. Everyone else, my other aunts, cousins, and my grandmother on my mom's side, were the definition of ladylike. Very soft, gentle voices, more or less dressing conservatively until the heat and humidity became unbearable, and generally stuck with quote-unquote girly girl activities and careers, or as Taylor calls it, bitch work. My Aunt Taylor, on the other hand, decided that somebody had to be the tough one, so she appointed herself. Although she had beautiful locks of golden brown hair, she was tough. Her body was shredded, even though you wouldn't think that due to her wearing baggy shirts all the time, and was loud and obnoxious with a dark sense of humor.
Alright, kiddos, start taking your crap in the house. Danny, you'll be taking the room upstairs with the blue door, and Jason, you'll be right across from her. I did the best I could with cleaning, but I may have got too excited and I bumped my head against the cabinet. In a blind rage, I punched a hole through the door. But, hey, At least if you ever get the balls to ask out some of the girls up at the local state college, maybe they'll think you're some sort of badass.
My mother and I slowly took our belongings inside. Aunt Taylor helped take our mattresses upstairs. And by helped, I mean she saw us both struggle and with her godlike strength, carried both of them up without breaking a sweat. Thankfully, I was able to carry our flat screen to a large den downstairs all by myself, and we got it up and running, and I managed to connect my Xbox One and my Switch in no time. That's another room I have yet to figure out why they call it that. But one thing at a time. Box after box was carried inside, and slowly but surely, we got all of our things set within a couple of hours. They must have taught my aunt how to harness some super hearing because somehow she was able to tell that my mother and I were starving.
I think I hear some tummies rumbling. Well, it looks like we got all of your crap inside, so let's see. It's about 1800, and I don't really feel like cooking. Hey, Danny, your kid still likes Senor Julio's? We can order the family meal, and for my favorite sister and nephew, what do you guys have? Don't trip. Let's get 2 family meals, one for you two and one for me. I've been doing deadlifts and crunches since 0400. I've worked up a mean appetite.
The food arrives and all 3 of us devour it. I don't think I remember to breathe. As Aunt Taylor was searching in her freezer for some ice pops, she stopped and looked at us with a concerning, serious look. It was a look we've only seen once, and that was when she told us my grandfather had passed away.
Ask Grandma, I'm probably the most laid back out of all your aunts, despite having served overseas. However, I have only one rule, alright? You see that room over there? The one that is completely bare with no furniture? That's my old living room. My new one is where the den is, or was, or whatever. Under 0 circumstances are both of you allowed to step foot in there. Is that understood?
My mother and I looked at each other for a brief moment before we suddenly nodded our heads in unison. All 3 of us ate our ice pops in silence. When it was time for bed, my mom and Aunt Taylor headed upstairs, but I wasn't really tired. I asked Aunt Taylor if I could play some Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and she responded with a flick of her hand and her back to me. Her classic way of saying, "Do whatever you want, just stop talking to me." I was having a relatively good session, and just as I was about to get the game-winning kill in a hardcore deathmatch game, I heard a very subtle "Jason." I yelled, "Hello?" But all that did was cause my Aunt Taylor to stomp on the floor. Nothing else really happened. 6 months go by without any more incidents, until one day, I bring my, at the time, new girlfriend. For privacy reasons, let's call her Lexi. We were together for about 4 months then. Lexi was a year younger than me, and although she was by every definition of the word a geek, she was drop dead gorgeous. We started playing co-op Minecraft until she got thirsty. I heard her walk into the kitchen and rummage through the fridge. She closed the door and I heard her footsteps get louder and then stop out of nowhere. Then, that same voice appeared. Lexi. I spun around to see my girlfriend, now in a trance, walking towards the forbidden living room. Her eyes glazed over, white, and she is moving like a zombie. I shouted for her to stop and not go in, but it was to no avail. I then dashed out of the den and from the bottom of the stairs, screamed at the top of my lungs for my Aunt Taylor. She came out of the garage that was adjoined.
Jason, what the hell is your problem? You nearly gave me a heart attack. Why are you screaming? You going to scare off that new girl of yours? Say, where the hell is she?
She then stopped talking and looked at the corner of the room where, unbeknownst to me, was a mirror that was facing the living room.
Oh shit, Jason, get out the way!
She ran as fast as she could. However, it was too late. My girlfriend Lexi was standing in the middle of the room with her head facing the floor. Suddenly, her head shot up and stared directly at both my Aunt Taylor and me. Her smile was inhumanely large to the point where the skin around her mouth began to split. From out of her mouth came a sinister, demonic laughter. Lexi was now crawling on the floor, her limbs contorted, and keeping that same nightmare-inducing grin. She had made it just a few feet in front of us until our Aunt Taylor shoved me aside, pulls out her 1911, and... My girlfriend's eyes returned to normal, with tears in her eyes as she fell to the ground. Dead.
Not today, Bilal, and definitely not my family.
I looked at my Aunt Taylor with a look of pure fear and confusion. What the actual hell just happened? My girlfriend was normal 1 second, and then the next, she became the girl from The Exorcist to a dead body on the ground? Aunt Taylor, what the fuck is going on with your house?
Look, kid, your Aunt Taylor is more than just your goofy, rough-housing, sarcastic bitch of a relative. When your mother and I were younger, we played with the Ouija board and she was attacked. This took place in the living room of Grandma and Grandpa's house. Apparently, it was supposed to help. It was called the living room for a reason. In days of old, rituals always took place there that were either meant to raise the dead or communicate with the dead or summon demons. However, sometimes they don't leave and continue living amongst us. Hence the name. That is why I told you and your mother to never ever go inside the living room.
I did not know how to even process what just happened. Aunt Taylor just looked at me and told me to help carry my girlfriend's body into the backyard. I'm 21 as of now, and I still live with my Aunt Taylor and my mother. I am writing this from my bedroom, and from time to time, I still hear my ex-girlfriend's voice calling my name and telling me to go into the forbidden living room. I just wish she would shut up sometimes and just let me sleep.